marche pas.
Hello? Je peux pas la monter s'il y a de la musique. Chandler, maybe we're gonna dance. I can't get you on until this music stops, right? Mesdames et messieurs, 1 to 6, Chandler Riggs!
Hi guys.
Does your microphone work?
Check. There we go.
Yes!
All right.
Chandler Riggs!
Hi guys.
I'm sorry, the music was on, I couldn't introduce you on. You're a musician though.
I do produce music. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Well, you sound musician aussi. I wasn't sure, at first I thought, is that maybe his music? Maybe that's
No.
such a good way to introduce.
That would be awesome. Yeah. No, but it's okay. I'm glad I didn't bring the dance all the way up here. I'm like the whitest dancer ever. I'm so bad.
No, but I like that you came on and had a little dance. It's good, it's good. A little icebreaker. What's your favorite French word?
Oh. Okay. I just learned one. I'm gonna butcher it and say it wrong. Citrouille?
Citrouille.
Citrouille.
Citrouille. That's a good one.
I can't do the thing very well. Citrouille. Yeah.
It's just there. It's weird. French
Yes.
people live with
Yeah.
Citrouille. Okay, that's a good word.
Yeah.
How's it going? How's Paris so far?
Great. This is my first time at a convention in France, I think, at all. So yeah, thank you guys for being here.
No,
Yeah.
first time in France?
I've been to France before, but this is my first time like meeting fans and doing a convention in France.
Okay, nice.
So this is awesome.
Well, welcome. I don't know too much about the Walking Dead series. I ended up stopping because of a divorce. Yeah, so I was busy being divorced. But I remember you being an absolute badass. And I think it's because, let's say, Rick Grimes, your dad, was already a badass, right? And so you saw him evolve and stuff. But we got to see you from your childhood. And then I remember it was such good TV. You killed your mum. And I was like, yo, that's dark. That's so dark.
Yeah. You know, we filmed that like right around my 13th birthday. It was like the worst time to like turn 13 ever, to have to like pretend to kill your mom. It sucked.
Yeah, it's pretty dark. Je disais juste que, par exemple, avec son père, Rick Grimes, le mec, il était déjà costaud, il était déjà cool, il savait déjà comment tirer un flingue et tout ça. Et on voyait son père devenir un peu plus dark. Hein. Mais avec lui, il a commencé comme un enfant, et lui, on l'a vu devenir un badass. Je sais pas comment on dit un badass en français, mais le mec, il a flingué sa mère, quoi. Donc c'est incroyable. That was an amazing scene.
Thank you.
How fun was it?
That scene specifically, that was terrible. That was not fun at all.
Yeah, that was heavy.
Yeah. No, but I mean, the show, like as a whole, was such a blast. Like the whole cast and crew, they were really so amazing, and we really were like a family on that show, and it was the best experience ever.
And also being kind of one of the only children for a while, and then there was children on the actually no, you weren't the only child. There was a young girl that ended up dying on the farm season, right?
Yeah, she died very quickly. Yeah.
But you had like all these different guardians. That must have been not only in the series, but actually in quote-unquote real life. That must have been really fun.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the great thing about it is that I was the only kid on set for many years, but we filmed in Georgia. I'm also from Georgia, so I didn't have to move or anything. I got to keep my same friends, and after filming on set, I would go back home and then go back to school the next day and get caught up on whatever homework or tests that I missed, and
so you didn't have to do school on set. You got to go.
I did. Well, so if I'm missing, there's a whole math thing behind it, but I would have to do some school on set, but just enough so I'm like staying caught up in my classes and everything.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. My dad was actually the studio teacher. It worked out really well, but it wasn't too bad. Being the only kid on set was my point. So I got to like still go back and see all my friends back at home.
La plupart du temps, c'était le seul enfant sur scène, et donc il y avait non seulement des gardiens dans le programme, mais il y avait des gardiens juste sur le plateau, quoi. Donc c'était vraiment un plaisir d'avoir tous ces gens qui s'occupaient de lui. Et parce que ça se passe à Georgia, dans l'état de Georgia, c'est là où il habite aussi. Donc il pouvait toujours voir ses amis, il pouvait toujours aller à l'école. Quelquefois, ils avaient besoin de professeurs qui viennent sur le plateau, mais généralement, yeah, you just had a great time.
Yeah, it was
What
great.
was like the hardest time?
Oh man.
Like we often ask the favorite things, but yeah, for you, because you were transitioning not just as an actor, but through puberty and as a human, you were growing. So, how did you manage to do that?
Yeah, you know, I think honestly some of the hardest days were just the days where we were out in the woods and it was like, like 100-something degrees Fahrenheit, which would be like, I think, like 40 or something, or
Yeah,
like high 40, like Celsius. Just it was so hot and so humid and like just terrible. So
yeah, it's
those
humid,
were probably
right.
those were probably the hardest days, were the hottest days.
Okay.
Yeah.
Donc les jours les plus difficiles pour lui, généralement, c'était par exemple quand tu es dans la nature et en Georgia, c'est non seulement c'est très chaud, mais c'est aussi humide. Et it's uncomfortable, right? The clothes that you have to wear.
The bugs, oh man, we'd have to like get sprayed down with like all sorts of spray,
Yeah. So
the
it's
insects.
this weird stickiness.
Yeah. There was a guy, or two guys actually, that were the snake wranglers was their title, and their job was to go out into the woods that we were shooting in like 2 hours before and go out and just wrangle all the snakes, clear them out of like the woods, so that way no one was going to get like bit by a snake.
That's a pretty cool job.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Wow. Donc, il y avait, tu sais, non seulement il faisait chaud et c'était humide, mais il était couvert de liquide pour arrêter les bestioles, là. Et il y avait aussi des scènes où il y avait des gens qui, leur boulot, c'était de faire partir les serpents. De get the fuck out of it, tu sais, faire partir les serpents. Yeah, that must have been amazing. So, were you sometimes scared that there was a potential snake in the vicinity?
The only times that I was ever afraid of what was around me was when, so after my character's eye got shot out, I had to wear that eye patch the whole time, and when you only have one eye, you can't see anything over here. So there were times where I'd be in a scene, and I'd just hear like a wasp or a bee or something just like buzzing around on this side, and I'm like, I have to like stay in character, stay in the scene. I don't want to ruin the shot, you know. And yeah, just being terrified of like, you know, if this thing is going to land on me, if it already has landed on me on like my eye patch and like is about to sting me. It's the only time I've ever been afraid of those bugs.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So, je lui ai demandé s'il avait peur des serpents ou pas. Et c'était pas vraiment les serpents, c'était les bestioles, c'était les insectes et les moustiques et tout ça. Surtout quand il avait son eye patch, quand il avait plus juste un œil. Parce qu'il ne voyait pas de ce côté-là. Et quelquefois, ils entendaient les moustiques et ça, il avait la trouille, quoi. Il détestait ça. Fair enough. Question about your lost eye. In story, generally, when an eye is lost, it's for a gaining of wisdom. So in mythology, Odin gives his eye up to gain wisdom. Donc généralement dans les histoires, quand un personnage perd un œil, c'est pour gagner quelque chose. Quelquefois, c'est gagner la sagesse. Donc dans la mythologie de Odin, le dieu des Norvèges, là, le papa de Thor, dans la mythologie, il perd un œil pour gagner la sagesse. For your character, you lost an eye. What did you gain?
An eye patch. No, he actually, I think there was a really transformative, you know, experience for him. Like, I don't think it was just because he had gotten shot and gotten that close to death, but, you know, it's an interesting character that he becomes after that happens, where he's just like more mature and wiser, and at the end of the day, you know, when he ends up dying, that's like his dying wish to his dad is that like, hey, look, we can't just, what's the plan? Are we all just gonna kill each other? You know, like, but there has to be like something here that we do, some middle ground that we meet, because otherwise we're all gonna die, and that's gonna be it.
So in a way, it was a sudden confrontation with death and an acceptance.
Maybe I don't know if 16-year-old me as the actor was thinking of that, you know.
Yeah, but subconsciously, potentially,
exactly,
you picked up on it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Donc, le fait qu'il a perdu son œil et il est tellement proche de la mort, cette interaction avec la mort lui a donné, c'est peut-être ça la sagesse qu'il a découvert. Tout d'un coup, il était plus relax. And so, quand il était au but de mourir, il était un peu plus calme. Like, were you calm when you were about to like die? As in your character was calm, right?
No, not me personally, right? Yeah, I mean, you know, it was a really interesting time. Like me, like in my personal life, I had just graduated high school, you know, and so I was like saying goodbye to like that whole chapter of my life, and I had a bunch of stuff kind of like set up and planned for the next few years, and then I got the heads up that I wasn't going to be on the show anymore. So it was a really interesting time to say goodbye to like a lot of things. And right after I left the show, I think like a couple days later I moved out to LA. So like putting everything behind. So it was a really like crazy, weird time. And it was kind of calming, you know, just that like, okay, you know, this is the end of that chapter. On to the next.
You were probably ready to move to LA.
You know,
it's sunny, but it's not humid.
It's true.
It's
no more
burning.
humidity. Yes.
It's just burning.
It's all on fire. Yeah.
Donc, au moment où il faisait ce rôle, il avait aussi graduated. Comment on dit graduated? Il a eu son diplôme. Yes. Il a eu son diplôme. Et donc, pour lui, c'était pas juste la carrière, c'était toute la vie changée. Et donc, c'était un bon moment non seulement de dire au revoir au show, mais de dire au revoir à Georgia. Il a déménagé à Los Angeles. Et voilà, donc c'était vraiment une nouvelle vie pour la vie hors scène et sur scène. Quelqu'un a une question? Loads of questions, yes.
Je la poser en français, c'est bon. Okay. Alors, quelle est la scène la plus traumatisante qui a été pour toi de tourner?
What was the most traumatic scene for you to film?
You guys just love the sad questions, the trauma questions, right?
It's France!
I know, right? Yeah. Oh man. Honestly, probably the scene where Carl has to kill his mother, the 13th birthday. No, I mean, just because it was like a time where the woman who played my mother, Sarah Wayne Callies, she was amazing and was like a mother to me on set, you know, and was just like always looking out for me. And her character doesn't die until like way later in the comic books. So I was expecting her to be around for a long time, but yeah, she wasn't. And that whole sequence took us like 2 days to film, so it was just crying nonstop for 2 days. It was a lot. And it was like it was very bizarre. But I wouldn't say any of it was ever really traumatic. Like, I mean, it's all fake. You know, it's all just scenes that we're doing. But it still is people that you're saying goodbye to. And you know, when you work somewhere, and the people that are working there with you have also been working with you for years. It's hard to say goodbye to them and knowing that they're going to go on and do the next thing. And it's awesome, but it is sad.
Dire au revoir avec les gens que tu travailles, ils deviennent des amis, ils deviennent la famille, quoi. Et avec sa mère, c'était pas juste la mère du personnage, elle a devenu le rôle de la mère pour lui aussi. Et donc, de dire au revoir, il était un peu surpris parce que ça se passe un peu plus longtemps dans le comics. Et donc lui, il croyait qu'il allait avoir plus de temps avec elle, non seulement le personnage, mais la comédienne. Et donc faire cette scène, ça a pris 2 jours, et il y avait beaucoup de larmes. C'était pas c'était pas du traumatisme, mais c'était beaucoup, quoi. De dire au revoir à quelqu'un, c'est toujours dur. Donc yeah, it must have been hard to like actually say goodbye to both the character and the actor. Yeah, double trauma.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
Yes, venez plus proche. Oui, venez.
Which version of Carl Burns is your favorite? The comic book version of the show version?
Oh man, that's such a mean question. Oh, do I like myself as Carl or the comic book character version of Carl more? Oh man, I mean, gosh, it's so hard. I think there were a lot of moments in the show that were more like not real, but just that you would expect a kid to do. You know, it's like of course the kid is going to run off into the woods and, you know, get too scared to shoot a zombie that then goes and kills Dale. You know, like, of course that's going to happen, like, you know, to a kid. But at the same time, like, seeing comic Carl's, like, progression, you know, I mean, because in the comics they're able to traverse, like, multiple years of time in the show, in the comics, but in the show we were kind of only limited to, like, you know, a couple of years of time because we had baby Judith that would have to get older and we'd have to, like, figure out how to, you know, teach a toddler how to act. It's like, you know, just not be great. So, I don't know. I can't give a good answer one way or another because they're both really cool, and Comic Carl really does, like, hold a special place in my heart. It's just like, man, when I found out that I had booked the show, I think I was like 10 years old, and I had an iPod Touch, and I changed, like, my wallpaper and, like, all the stuff to, like, Comic Carl because I was like, this is so cool, I'm gonna be a comic book character. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard. I can't choose. Yeah.
C'est dur pour lui de choisir quelle version de Carl il préfère, non seulement dans la télé, dans la version télé, mais aussi dans les comics. Et une des choses qui est un peu dure, c'est qu'il y a vraiment une différence entre télé Carl et comic Carl, parce que dans les comics, tu peux avoir plus de changements de temps. Tu peux vraiment traverser des années, et avec la télé, c'est un peu plus difficile à faire ça. Et quand il a eu le rôle, il a changé toute sa chambre avec le poster de Carl et tout ça. Il a adoré le fait qu'il pouvait devenir un personnage dans une comic. Mais il ne peut pas choisir. How many transformations did Carl go through? I mean, would you say it's one per season, potentially?
I like to landmark by when he gets shot each time, right? So
Every time he gets shot.
He gets shot in season 2. That's like a pretty big transformation.
Yeah.
And he gets shot again, you know, in season 5 or season 6. I mean, so there's, like, I would say, like, a handful of, big, like, maybe 3 or 4, like, landmark times where he's, like, changes into new character.
Every time he gets shot.
Yeah.
So American.
Yes. Yeah.
Donc je lui ai demandé combien de transformations est-ce que Carl il a, parce que moi je connais pas trop le programme, et il a dit qu'à chaque fois qu'il se fait tirer dessus, ce qui est très américain.
That was actually another birthday for me, funny enough. My 12th birthday I got shot in season 2.
Donc à chaque fois qu'il a un anniversaire, il y a quelque chose d'horrible qui se passe dans la télé. C'est nice. Happy birthday.
I know, right? Yeah.
Right. Il y a des autres questions? Il arrive.
Well, you entered to the show at 10 years old kid. When I was a 10 years old kid, I was scared about many things, like monsters, ghosts, and dead people. So how a 10 years old kid handler to say, hey, Chandler, this is fake, with this huge, amazing makeup from the show? How do you handle that at that young age?
A lot of therapy really helps. Yeah. No, it was honestly, it just felt like I was just like a part of a video game, you know, because I played a whole bunch of, like, zombie video games at the time, like Left 4 Dead and Dead Island was some of them.
So good.
It's so great, yeah. So for me, it was just like being on a part of a video game, you know what I mean, where we have all these just, like, really amazing, like, makeup on all these zombies, and they're also normal people. Like, in between takes, like, you go up to them and like, hey, what's up, Joe? And he's like, hey, man. He's like, can't move his face, you know. And they're all just, like, nice people that are just really excited to be on set and to be there working with you. And it's just such a cool thing to get to have that as an actor for, like, these other people coming in and just being stoked. And, yeah, it's just really great. And yeah, so it was never really scary. It was just exciting and fun and cool. We also did it, like, we rehearsed every scene a million times. Like, we went over again and again and again, like, it's like a dance, you know, like you, like, step here, and then move back. So it was all very, like, choreographed.
Donc pour lui, ça faisait pas trop peur de jouer dans Walking Dead parce que non seulement il y avait plein de répètes, donc c'était comme une danse, une harmonie, mais aussi, tu sais, même les zombies, c'était des gens normaux, quoi. Donc quand la caméra coupait, ils étaient des gens normaux, quoi. Hey, Joe, how's it going? C'était vraiment normal. What were you scared of at that age? Qu'est-ce qui te faisait peur à cet âge?
Honestly, I was just scared of, like, failing tests and exams at school. Like, that was, like, I was not really scared of anything because I knew going to set was just, like, it was like second nature. It was just, I show up and I learn the lines and I do it. But, like, was like, man, this math test I got coming up, like I gotta really study, you know?
So going to school was scary.
Yes, yeah.
Aller à l'école faisait plus peur. Voilà. Des autres questions? Yes, après yes.
Hello, nice to meet you, Emilio. So, I wanted to know, do you think your character had the best conclusion you could have reached for, or do you think he could have been more developed? Because honestly, I'll be honest, I think he died too early, and I wish he got a bit more character development. And I wanted to I was curious about your opinion on this subject.
Yeah, you know, I went and watched the 9th season of the show, and my awesome great friend Matt Lintz, who played Henry on the show, the older version of Henry, they basically gave the storyline for comic Carl, like that would have been season 9, from Carl to Henry. And so for me to get to like watch that as a viewer was the coolest thing ever, because just getting to see one of my good friends get to play the same character-ish that I had played, and like play out these storylines that my character was going to. It was really cool. It was like really just like I don't know, to get to see someone else do it justice was just awesome. And it would have been awesome to like still be on the show and, you know, keep doing things, but you know, now I am like directing and producing my own stuff. I have a production company, and you know, I have a non-profit as well. I operate entirely out of like virtual reality. I do a bunch of stuff like outside of just acting now, and I probably wouldn't have if I had just stayed on the show and done those things. So it would have been awesome to like get to do those other things, but I'm really glad that I am doing the things I'm doing now. Yeah.
Bah, ça aurait été sympa de développer le personnage et de voir comment Carl Grimes évolue, mais aussi c'était un bon moment pour sa vie à lui de faire une autre transformation, de voir comment lui il évolue. Et donc maintenant il a plein de choses qui se passent. Je sais pas comment on dit, you said startups, right? No,
Non-profit.
Non-profit, c'est charity work.
Yeah.
Donc il fait du travail avec des charité, c'est ça? Et donc il aime bien comment sa vie évolue. Donc oui, bien sûr, ce serait bien de jouer Carl encore, mais il aime bien comment ça se passe pour lui, tu vois. Donc c'était un bon moment pour arrêter de Carl. Et les autres? Yes, mademoiselle.
Hi. I was wondering if Andrew Lincoln, that played your dad, was he like a kind of a father figure for you on the show as you were growing up? And also I have a second question. I know you ate a lot of pudding, so were you grossed out?
Well, the pudding. You know, it's so funny with that scene, because I still get pudding to this day. People still come and bring me things of pudding, and we shoot the scenes like they're just like nothing, you know, but then like there's some scenes like that just stick with people, and they just like, you know, oh, he must love pudding because he ate it in that one scene. I'm kind of like on pudding. It's just, you know, it's it. But Andrew Lincoln, well, I'll let you.
No. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Les gens croient qu'il aime bien le dessert. Je ne sais pas comment on dit pudding, c'est pas exactement un dessert, mais les gens croient qu'il aime ça parce qu'il y avait la scène. How much pudding did you eat?
112 ounces. Well, okay, my character ate like 112 ounces, but I only had to eat like a quarter of the can, so it was like 30 ounces or so. That's still a lot of pudding.
What's ounces in French measurements?
Oh, yeah, forget. I got free.
Les mesures impériales, yeah, ça me fait chier.
A lot of pudding.
Mais beaucoup de desserts pour le personnage, mais lui il a pas mangé trop, donc ça va. Il n'était pas. Je commence à tellement fatiguer, maintenant je fais juste des bruits. And then the other question, l'autre question, c'est à quel point son père, le personnage, a été aussi un père pour nous. Like,
Andy, he was, he was just like the best guy to work with on set. He was the guy who played Rick. He was the best possible person to be in the role that he was in. Not just because like acting wise, like he's, you know, obviously like one of the most talented actors out there, but he just the energy that he brought to set every day was like I mean, you know, our crew they were so hardworking. They were the first ones in, last ones out, and Andy was right there with them, you know. But like just the energy and dedication, and just like he just lifted everybody up, and it really just made everyone else around him, crew and cast, be like, oh, this guy is like our number one, is putting in this much effort and energy into it. We should probably also do the same. And I think that's why the show turned out as good as it did for a long time, is because like that energy was just infectious and just made everyone else. I mean, this guy, he showed up to set knowing every single word on the scripts of what we're shooting that day. He knew my lines. He knew everybody else's. He knew like every line of stage direction. It was crazy. Yeah, it was just a very dedicated and just down to earth and perfect guy for that role model. Yeah.
Je sais pas comment on dit role model, un rôle modèle, un rôle modèle. Le fait que Andy savait toutes les lignes dans le texte, tu vois, c'était vraiment un professionnel, mais pas professionnel et stressé, c'est professionnel mais avec de l'amour et de l'amitié et de l'humeur. Donc c'était vraiment toujours un plaisir. Il était le premier sur scène, il était le dernier qui partait, et donc son influence a vraiment aidé tout le monde, quoi. Et surtout, it probably helped you to see someone so passionate.
Yeah, I've since taken that into every other project that I've done, and just like tried to apply that same level of like dedication of like knowing everybody else's names on the crew. That's like a huge thing. That's like just makes everyone feel important because they are important. You know, it's yeah, things like that. Yeah.
Et grâce à lui, c'est pour ça que maintenant il est professionnel. Je suis désolé, mesdames et messieurs, moi vous voyez, moi je commence à me fatiguer, je trouve plus les mots. Quelqu'un a des autres questions? Yes.
Role you want to play in the future?
Oh man. You know, I get this question, you know, a good amount, and I feel like people expect me to be like, oh, Spider-Man, you know, which like awesome. I got to do that in a short film actually, or you know, some like big like superhero. But you know, honestly, it's so much less about the role that you're playing, you know, on set. Like I got to play a villain in this comedy like a while back, and he's like a character that you hate. You just hate this guy. But I had such a blast doing it because the people around me that you're working with, like the crew, they're just amazing, you know, and just so great. And that is really what's important, is just like a good vibe on set, because, you know, it could be the coolest role in the world that you're doing. It could be, you know, it could be the lead on Star Wars, and it could be just the worst set environment, and I would never want to go back. I would never want to go back and work again for like that and do that same role. Not because of the role, but because of the environment, you know? And it's, I mean, one of the best, I think my favorite set that I was on was this tiny little indie movie, like this little like rom-com thing, and I shot in this tiny town with like the crew, like 30 people, you know? But it was just such a great time, because we were all just like family, so it was great. Yeah, so it's way more, I wish I had a better answer for you, but it's more about like the role, or sorry, the environment, the set, than the role.
That is a good answer. That is like, pour lui, c'est pas vraiment à propos du rôle, c'est plus à propos de la complicité avec lui et l'équipe, quoi. Parce que si tu arrives sur un plateau et c'est vraiment horrible, tu peux avoir le meilleur personnage, tu n'as pas envie de travailler. Et donc pour lui, c'est plus l'expérience. Tu vois, il avait fait un film, un petit indie film, je sais pas comment on dit indie film en français, un petit film. Un quoi?
Indépendant.
Ok. Oh, indépendant, I heard. Ok, un film indépendant, donc, mais c'était une belle équipe et donc il a adoré ça. Donc pour lui, c'est pas le rôle, c'est l'amitié. It's the friendship that you make right along the way. That's nice. Okay, how long have you got, by the way?
I think at 5:30. I think we got 5 more minutes.
5 more minutes. Okay. Question. Yes.
Hi. What was it like to work with Greg Nicotero? Because he seems very passionate.
And he's such a pro. Greg Nicotero, he's great. Yeah, he's a very, very talented guy. His whole team, honestly, because it's him, but then he's got like a whole team of makeup artists doing a lot of work for him. And that's who I got to work with a couple of his, like the members on his team the most. And because he's usually like helping out with pre-production or directing an episode or something. So a lot of the makeup stuff that I did, the eye makeup and everything, was done by, you know, people that were helping him. And I mean, they're all just such great people, and just have a really like, you know, deep and talented eye for time, yeah, for those things, you know. And yeah, it's just so great.
Who is he in this series?
Greg Nicotero, he was the head of special effects and makeup, and he went on to direct a whole bunch of episodes, and I think he ended up becoming a producer for the show at one point.
Right.
Directs spent a whole bunch of stuff now. Yeah.
Travailler avec la personne qui était non seulement head of le mec qui faisait tous les make-up et tout ça, mais pas juste maquillage, aussi les prosthétiques et tout ça, c'était vraiment un plaisir de travailler avec lui. Il était aussi producer, réalisateur et tout ça, donc il était un peu partout et le voir travailler c'était vraiment un plaisir. I think that's roughly the translation.
He was just great. Yeah, he was great to work with. Yeah.
Good, cool. What's a lesson that you learned on set that you've applied to real life? Quelle leçon est-ce qu'il a appris sur scène qu'il a maintenant pris dans la vraie vie? Not professional lesson.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to think of life. I think part of it is just like the kind of thing that Andy had like, you know, really drilled into everybody is just showing up just like prepared and on time. And it's not just like professionally, but just in general in life. It's just like in social interactions, everything just like being just super present and passionate and interested and everything like is a great way to live life.
With anyone.
Yeah.
It can be exhausting.
Yes. Yeah.
But it's beautiful when someone knows how to do it.
Yeah. There was one thing that I took that I used professionally, and it was a thing that Andy did. Funny enough, he whenever we would have these just deep and emotional, or most scenes in general actually, because they're all deep and emotional. He would look at his hand before we would we'd be rolling and everything and getting ready to go, and he'd be just looking at his hand, or in between setups he'd be off in a corner somewhere, just just here. And at one point I was like, "What are you looking at? What's in your hand?" And he said it was a thing he just picked up from his acting school, which is for some reason just looking at your hand just helps drown out everything else, and just gets you focused on you, on just this. You know what I mean? And so it helps him just focus and center and just help get into character. So I've since used that everywhere. Just that really trying to block out everything and then taking measurements for focus or trying to do whatever. It's been really helpful to just have a nice little cheat card in my back pocket of just hand.
Yeah, meditation basically, right?
Exactly, yeah.
J'ai demandé quelle sorte de leçon est-ce qu'il a appris sur le plateau qu'il a maintenant. Oh fucking hell! Sorry, pardon. Oh, look at this! That scared the shit out of me.
That is awesome.
Oh, I'm too tired. Je suis trop fatigué pour voir ça. Ça m'a flippé. That actually worked. Okay. Je lui ai demandé quelle sorte de leçon il a appris sur le plateau qu'il a pu prendre dans la vie. Et une des choses qu'il a appris, c'est vraiment essayer de rester présent avec tout le monde. Avec tout ce que tu fais, sois présent. N'oublie pas le passé, t'inquiète pas du futur, sois présent. Et une chose que Andy, qui joue Rick, lui a appris, c'est que une chose qu'il faisait, c'est regarder à sa main pour presque chaque scène. Et il a demandé un jour, mais t'es en train de faire quoi là? Et c'était une technique qu'il avait appris avec son professeur de théâtre pour essayer de vraiment rester profondément dans le moment, de trouver une façon de méditer et d'oublier le bruit et la lumière et les autres personnages et regarder à sa main, ça l'a aidé. Et maintenant, il fait ça. C'est une façon de vraiment rester présent, parce que quand tu es présent, tu es plus avec les gens et c'est juste... Il y a plus de magie avec ça. There's more magic when you're present with people.
Yeah.
Okay. Une autre question, mademoiselle. Je suis désolé, je peux pas. Deux questions.
Bonjour, je vais la faire en français. Je voudrais savoir quel est selon lui le personnage qui a le mieux évolué du début à la fin. Quelle a été la plus belle évolution.
So, which character do you think had the better evolution out of all the characters in Walking Dead?
And I love Michonne's arc. I mean, she's my favorite character, but just watching, this person go from this just trusting nobody, just on her own, and it takes so long for her to open up and to, learn to trust people again was just such a cool thing to watch and to be a part of too. I mean, Carl was like a part of helping her open up in that way. So yeah, Michonne.
De voir Michonne grandir et de trouver la confiance parce qu'elle avait perdu toute sa confiance aux gens et donc de retrouver ça, c'était vraiment une belle évolution. Donc c'est ça qu'il a bien aimé. Une dernière question, one last question.
In a way where Carl was still alive after season 10 and 11, when Michonne found Rick, what would be the reaction of Carl about the judgment and the mental of Rick and when he come back?
So what if Carl was still around? Like, what would his reaction be if, finding out about all the stuff with Rick? I think Carl, would be right there with Michonne, like trying to find him and trying to like track him down and help him like do all the stuff that he did and the ones who lived, So I don't know. I don't think he would. I think he would just like feel really sympathetic for his dad for just like enduring all of that and not giving up, So it's I think he'd be proud of him. Yeah.
J'ai pas vu cette série, cette saison, mais après, ça serait quoi la réaction de Carl avec ce qui s'est passé avec Michonne et Rick? Et je crois que he just basically did the same Carl, right? You just go on the hunt, be sympathetic, help out.
Pretty much, yeah.
Donc il y a un peu la même chose, il aiderait Michonne à trouver son père et il aurait de la sympathie pour lui. Voilà. Thank you so much for coming to Paris.
Absolutely. Hey, thank you guys so much for having me. If you have more questions, I'm going to be at my table, so please feel free to come by and ask. I'll be there for the rest of the day.
Chandler Riggs, everybody!
Thank you guys.
Chandler, I'm going to play the photo again.